Okay, so now moving forward, we are going to look at how do we find an nth term in the sequence. In other words, if I told you, okay, well, that's great that you can find the next 4 terms in a sequence, but what if I want to find the 40th term? What if I want to find the 400th term? There must be a way to do that, and there is a way to do that, and it's through writing a formula for it that means that we can plug in whichever term we want into it, and it will tell us what it is. So we are going to look at that and look at kind of how to graph that, because these are linear functions, so they should make a straight line on a graph. And yeah, let's get started on this. So what it says up here is, in this key concept section right here, is to find the nth term of an arithmetic sequence. All right, we're going to call the first term A1, all right, that's a subscript, all right, so similar to an exponent, except it's on the lower right rather than the upper right. And then common difference D, which you should be familiar with by now. That is, you know, the additive or subtractive difference from one term to the next, going left to right. And then they give us this formula, it's a to the n. That means you can find any term, right, if you put in the first term, and then your common difference multiplied by the number of the term you want to find subtracted by 1. All right, so let's take a look at how we might do that with an actual thing. So we've got this right here, okay? So I can see that my common difference on this one is plus 6, okay? It's going up 6 each time because we got plus 6, and it keeps going up, and it's going to go that way. And they have 4 terms in there. So all I do to find my regular equation for this, so I could find any term, is I'm going to write out a to the n just as it is, and then for A1, you're going to put in your first term, because that's what it means. It means your first term. So I'm going to put in 7. And then I'm going to go plus, and then n minus 1 is just going to stay as n minus 1, because n is going to be our variable in these. This is always going to be what we're trying to find, okay, or what we're plugging in. All right, so n minus 1, and then your common difference is 6. So then what you do for these is you just do a little bit of what you know how to do in algebra. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to multiply it by both things. You can do distributive property from either side of the parentheses. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you understand it's multiplying by it. So you get 6n minus 6. And then let's combine. So let's take our 7 and our negative 6, put those together. So you would get 6n minus 1, or plus 1, sorry, 6n plus 1. Okay, so now let's test this. So let's try it out with this third term. All right, so I'm going to say, okay, I want to see what A3 is. So I'm going to go 6, and then you're going to put that number of the term in for n. So I'm going to put in 3 plus 1. And then that gives you 18 plus 1, which is 19. So that looks pretty good. That looks like that works. And you can see with every term you put in that it's going to, you know, it'll multiply it by that, yeah, so this works out nicely. All right? And so then when you graph it, right, you're going to understand that this is the first term. All right? So the n is the number of your terms, which is on your x, and then your y is what they actually are. So for my first term, I get 7, so I put that like right here. My second term, I get 13, so that goes about right there. My third term, you get 19, that's almost at 20, kind of close there. Fourth term is 25. So I've got this line going up, right? And it's going to be about right. This will let me do this. All right. So let's try this here. Okay, and got this and this. All right, so you can clearly see that you're setting yourself up for a graphing that. Now, the thing is, I did make a mistake on this, all right? And the mistake I made is I drew a line between these. And so the thing is, you don't want to draw a line between these because this isn't a continuous function, all right? You're finding terms based on, what's the second term, what's the fourth term, what's the seventh term. You're not finding the 6.45 term or any of that. So when you do these, you are just going to keep them how that is. Okay? So let's try another one. Okay, we got a couple here. So I'm going to pause this. If you guys want to think about these and see if you can figure out how to write these, that's great. All right, so for this first one, I figure out that my common difference is -4. Okay, it's going down 4 each time, right? So for my formula, I've got a to the n is equal to your first term, which in this case is 30, plus n minus 1 times my common difference, which is -4. So I'm going to multiply -4 times each of these terms. So I'm going to get 30 minus 4n, because you'd have -4n. And then -4 times -1 is +4. Right? And then add them together. And then you get -4n plus 34 is what a to the n is. So let's try this and see if it works. So let's put in my third term, all right? Let's test my third term. I don't have a thing for the third term, but just was there, all right? So -4 times 3, and that will help me find my third term. So that gives you -12 plus 34, which gives you 22, which is indeed what we got. Then plot your terms. So first one is 30, second one is 26, third one is 22, fourth one is 18. So you see you got some dots going down here and the way that works. Okay? And you can, you could follow that basically and see that it would continue to go in this direction. All right, 19. So again, you try it, pause the video, and then come back and see if you understand it. All right, so let's figure out our common difference. First of all, we need to know what d is. So it looks like we are going up 3 every time. And we are. So a to the n equals your first term, which is -7, plus, and then n minus 1 times your common difference, which is +3. Remember, you always want to keep your sign with your common difference. That's pretty important. All right? So that means, let's do some distributive property here. 3n minus 3. Let's do a little combining. So we're going to move our 3n over to the front, get rid of whatever that is. And then -3 and -7 makes -10. Let's plug in our fourth term this time. Let's see how this works. So a to the fourth term, the fourth term of a, is 3 times 4 minus 10. So that gives you 12 minus 10, which is 2, which is what we got. I can see if I put the third one in, that would give me 9. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 10, which is -1. Second term. So this works out pretty nicely. All right. So let's plot it. So your first term is -7. Your second term is -4. Your third term is -1. And then your fourth term is 2. So you can see that it continues to go up, and if I wanted to just kind of figure out where they was going to go, I think I would predict that they would go there and continue up in that fashion. All right, so I hope this is making a little bit of sense to you. Good luck with these. One really quick thing I want to show you is now that you have these formulas, right, and you've got this one right here for this one, you've got this one right here for this one. Now that you have these formulas, you could use this if I said, hey, find the 100th term. And you would just do it kind of the way we did it when we were checking it. I would just put 100 in for n and plug it in. So just understanding that these are pretty useful as far as these sorts of things go. Now, how much application you're going to have in the real world with these, I'm not exactly sure. But as far as in the context of learning that, you have all the tools you need now to move forward.